favourite thing about bonsai is working on a tree, finding what looks good that has been presented to me. But what it does mostly for me is shut out the world, the outside noise, just giving me some me time, peace and quiet. And I don't mean from noisy kids, I mean just shutting out the world. So today we're outside in the garden to do some work on a Japanese mountain maple. You may have seen me do some work on it in the past, but today we're now doing the autumn maintenance, which will involve some cutting back, some wiring and some branch placement. So we're going to be needing these pruning scissors, which you can find on my website for a good price. Some concave cutters for anything that the cheap scissors cannot handle. We've got some wire for any wiring that's needed, and obviously the old trusty wire cutters. So this Japanese maple has been in my care for at least 4 years now. When I first got it, there wasn't much growth on the top, it was just like thin little twiggy branches, and I believe the trunk size has actually doubled in size in 4 years, which I believe also is to do with the exceptional root growth this tree puts on every year. I didn't repot it this year, frankly, because I wanted it to put on good growth where normally it needs root work every year. And as you can see from down here, it's actually starting to push up the soil. And that's only from one season's growth. And you've probably seen in other videos where I've cut the roots far back as possible. It's definitely a healthy tree. Now we are going to make a start, and we're going to be cutting the branches back until we've got nice little nodes and dealing with any branch knuckles that may have formed this year, which I can see a few on here already. And also this is a fine example why you want to keep an eye on the wire on your Japanese maples, as there's horrible wire bite here. And we may cut it back, we may leave it heal over the next few years and just see how it goes. But for the meantime, it is rather ugly. Bit of an eyesore during the winter image, but when it's full in leaf, you can't really see them. What would you do? So here's a fine example right here, where it's extended into another node. We're just going to simply get the scissors and cut them back. Just leave a little bit here for dieback, where if we cut it straight down to where the buds are, and that dieback may continue further down. And we've got another one here to extend that ramification. And obviously if you've got any no longer living pieces, like this little bit here, that can come off. There's another one here, and another one here. And I don't like this piece here, it's coming in the way of the ramification belt, so we're going to get rid of it. Now this work doesn't have to be done in autumn, it could be done in late winter or spring, but I always prefer to get them done at this time of the year, then I don't have to worry about it in spring. Now we have got one on the side here. I could grow that out to be another branch to fill out this space, but I don't want that. That creates an opening in this tree. So we're going to get rid of that. And then anything that's grown under, we can get rid of. Now I don't particularly like how this is growing over, and eventually it's going to get tangled in with this branch here. So what we're going to do is just remove that. We may need some cut paste for these slightly bigger cuts, as that is quite fleshy. Now that's quite ugly there, and I don't like that. So we're going to remove that. We've also got another buds growing here as well, so maybe that can fill out that space. I do wish that this would go more in. So even though here it's split into two, and then it's splitting into two again, but it's also got two buds here. I don't like how it's curving into that side of that branch. So what I'm going to do here is just cut you back, and then that's going to start growing out that way. And I'm also going to shorten you. And there we go. Now we've got a nice neat set of two there, which will then go into two again. So I'm now going to go around all the mid and the bottom section of this tree. I'll probably do a bit of speed run for you, and when we get to the top, I'll show you what to do with the tops. So now I've thinned out all the midsection, and it's now time to get to the top, and it's a very similar process of what we've done up here, but what forms mostly around the tops are knuckles, where all the stronger growth is, and we don't want any of them. There is a fair bit of thinning out. There's not much wire work to do today, nothing compared to this time last year, but we have got some correction to be doing. Right here you can see where it forks off straight into 3. We're going to get rid of the middle one, and I'm going to use the concaves and just snip them off like that. And really it's just anything that's grown too thick, which is ruining the taper within the branches. And now right here is very congested, but we need to get in there with the scissors before this is left to grow and starts forming a horrible knuckle, which we do not want. And obviously anything that's crossing we can get rid of as well. That's too long, so we're going to get rid of you. Create them shorter internodes wherever we can. And I think there's previous cuts here where I treated the same spot last year, and they just seems to be growing out profusely out of this area. But that's already looking a lot better. I am going to take this one out, and obviously we've got it forking off into 4 here. One of these are going to have to go. Now I feel like that's overlapping, so we're just going to cut that flush, and then that can start building out this way. And here they're starting to cross over. If I cut that back there, eventually that is going to go over as well. But if I turn it around, we do have a little bud there where we can start growing out this way, so we're going to cut you. And there's also this fork here, there's a pair of 3, cut you in there, and it's done it again. So we're going to cut you off and you in there. There's also little buds in here growing, which we don't want, so we're just going to scrape them off like that. We don't want you. Going to cut you, and that is looking a lot cleaner there already. I think I might actually, let's get the concave cutters for that. I think I might actually take you off entirely, and that's looking loads better. When these grow out, I'll wire them into place. So it is simply just that process going around the whole top, just shortening the internodes where we can and thinning out the excess growth. All the congestion needs to go, because that will cause inverse taper and swelling and more knuckles. The least knuckles, the best, is what I see. And of course anything that's crossing over also. So I don't like you, so I'm going to get rid of you and you. So just a quick spin around to see what's going on here. I'm kind of not liking this here, so I think that is probably going to have to come off along with this excess bit. I don't know. It is actually going above the apex, so that bit has to come off. So as you can see, it's coming up here and there, but it's actually above the apex, and the apex actually does need work to be chopped back in more. And I don't want the apex to be on the side, I want the apex to be on this side. There we go. That is absolutely looking a lot more cleaner. And if we get rid of you, there are some little bits here which we don't want, which we will take off. All this ramification will build back up over the next growing season. As you can see, it's already done it since the last video. So I've got this cut paste. I think I'm in need of a new one. I've had this one for a fair while. A little goes a long way. Maybe we should go on Notion Bonsai's website. It's all muggy. I actually did start using a brush for some of the trees. That's all we need on there. And what I like about this one is that it goes clear, and you can't really see it. It goes to the wood's natural colour as it heals. Maybe at the top here on the apex. There we go. Now I've got to go wash my hands. So now we are going to get some wire on. I just want to bring these two branches up just a little bit. So we're just going to match the length to the wire. We don't need to go on the outer branches. It's just lifting up these two. And that should be more than enough. So I'm going to cut these just about there, I reckon. That should be definitely more than enough to bring them two branches up. What I'm going to do is start behind the tree, like so, and that one's going to go under and around, just like this, keeping a nice even space. And then this one should be able to just go around like this. There's not many buds lower down. Just wrap you in. And then as we get further down, just want to get that in there so it gives us a little bit more play, and then to just cut off the excess. We're just going to gently lift and bend with the wire. What we've done for the tree is cut back and shorten it into nodes. Done some major chops, well, not too major, anything that's going to disrupt the taper within the branches and the flow of the tree, building this beautiful canopy. Next year it will need root work and a repot, and I will do a full video on that.